Trump admin reportedly set to burn 500 tons of emergency food instead of distributing it. The Trump administration is reportedly set to burn some 500 tons of emergency food instead of distributing it as it continues scaling back practically all foreign aid programs. The Atlantic reported on Tuesday that the rations, which could feed about 1.5 million children for a week, are set to expire on Wednesday. The food was earmarked for children in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The rations in question are high-energy biscuits which hold nutritional needs for children under 5. They are usually given out in scenarios where people have lost their homes and aid groups have not yet been able to set up kitchens. The biscuits were stored in a warehouse in Dubai, but since the Trump administration halted practically all foreign assistance, they have not been distributed even though federal workers sent the leaders of USAID repeated requests to ship them while they were edible. The outlet added that career staff could have handed the rations to the World Food Program, but since Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency dismantled USAID, no funds or aid items can be moved without the approval of the new political leadership. The latest person to hold that responsibility is Jeremy Lewin, a law school graduate in his 20s who was originally installed by DOJ officers. Installed. Seems like a loaded word. By DOJ officers who sent memos requesting approval, never heard back from him. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in May that aid would be sent before going bad, but the order to incinerate the biscuits had already been sent. The cost of destroying the food would be $130,000. This is what I know about USAID. The waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplace, $70,000 for production of DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. This is Caroline Levitt. Caroline Levitt, she's not related to John Levitt. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going to this crap. And I know the American people don't either. That's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do. And that's what exactly Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse of our federal government. So in regards to waste, fraud, and abuse, I don't want my money going to that stuff either. Aid would be sent out before going bad, but the order to incinerate the biscuits had already been sent. 5 of the worst USAID scandals in history. It hasn't always gotten its facts right, as when it claimed that a $100 million grant to a global medical charity was condoms for Gaza. Drugs were the elephant in the room during the failed U.S. war in Afghanistan because opium was such a large part of the poor and war-torn country's economy. The fighting between the Taliban and the U.S.-backed Afghan Republic often looked more like a turf war between rival narco gangs, with the U.S. military protecting some opium fields and bombing others. USAID tried to change the state of affairs, spending $1.46 billion on alternative development programs from 2002 to 2017. The goal was to encourage farmers to move away from opium by providing fertilizers, equipment, and other assistance for non-opium farming. But some of that money inadvertently supported poppy production. The U.S. Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction reported in 2018. A USAID-funded charity in Kenya allegedly covered up rampant sex abuse of children, and USAID funded a second charity in the Central African Republic a month after a major sex abuse scandal broke. The Children of God Relief Institute, which ran an orphanage for Kenyan children affected by AIDS and similar projects, received high praise from the U.S. government from 2013 onward. USAID gave the institute $29.3 million. In 2018, then Vice President Mike Pence welcomed its founder, Mary Owens, on stage at a World AIDS Day event. In 2021, a whistleblower told USAID that the charity was harboring a dark secret. USAID's Inspector General soon determined that Children of God Relief Institute officials knew or should have known of multiple incidents of child sex abuse, but failed to take effective remedial measures to address the abuse. In some cases, the victims were forced to apologize for provoking their own abuse. Anyway, I'm not going to read all 5 of them, but I gave you like 3 of them. I gave you 3 major ones. USAID, when you see the scandals, when you hear about these scandals, you realize how bad it is. But I don't understand why you would destroy the food. Type this real quick in chat. It's easy, just take your amount there like I did through a Rafi. I understand wanting to do away with foreign assistance, okay? Like the programs that Caroline Levitt listed, a transgender comic book, a transgender opera, we don't need that shit. But me, personally, I'm okay with sending food to other countries. And you know what? There are plenty of homeless people in America. So what can we do? I mean, how much is 500? Well, we can't do anything now because the food's gone. It's burned. But hypothetically, how much is 500 tons of food? Why am I even bothering to look that up? It says right here, 500 tons of food, the rations, which would feed about 1.5 children. This video is a fucking mess. 1.5 million children for a week. We will divide that. We'll give 250 tons of food to America, correct? We'll keep 250 tons of it. And then we'll give you guys 250 tons of it, okay? Again, you want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? You just wasted 500 tons of food, which you could have given away to both sides of the aisle, right? You could have given it foreignly. That's not a word, I don't care. You could have given it to the homeless here in America, but you decided to burn it. Like, imagine going home to your wife. Honey, how did you do work? Terrific. I just ordered 500 tons of food to be burned. Bruh, that's an L moment. I'm sorry, that is an L moment. Kek L, right there, Kek L.